A lot of people that I most commonly hear them saying is, oh, Genecia, I don't have money to outsource or delegate. I would love to do everything myself. Other people can't do it as well as me. I'm the best person doing that thing. But you know what? I truly believe that if you want to grow, you want to scale, you need to outsource. You need to delegate. You must do it because only then you can focus on your zone of genius.
Welcome to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you love entrepreneurship and investing in real estate, then you are in the right place. Josh is the CEO of Freeland Ventures Real Estate Private Equity and has personally invested in well over 500 properties all across the country. He's also made hundreds of private lender loans and owns over 1,000 units of apartments. Josh is an expert at raising private money for deals, and he prides himself on never having had a boss in his entire adult life. Josh and his team also mentor investors and entrepreneurs from all over the world. He doesn't dream about doing deals. He actually does them, and so do his listeners and students. Now sit back, listen, learn, and accelerate your business, your life, and your investing with the Accelerated Investor Podcast.
So, hey, welcome back to Accelerated Investor. I am so excited to be with you today. We're still hanging out. A lot of us under quarantine, a lot of us social distancing, still dealing with this virus business. And that gives me a fantastic opportunity to spend time meeting new people online, getting to know new people. And today is exactly that. I've been so fortunate to be introduced to Genecia Alluora, and we're going to interview her today. She is the former Miss Singapore, and in 2010 was recognized as a Southeast Asia Woman of Excellence. She is the founder of a company called Soul Rich Women. It's the #1 female entrepreneur network in Southeast Asia, covering more than 7 countries. And we're going to talk with her today about a number of things, about entrepreneurship, about creating passive income. And she also has a book and a kind of a free giveaway for our audience on how to outsource 80% of your to-do list so that you can focus on creating money online, creating money in real estate. So for our women audience, you're absolutely going to love this because Genecia is very passionate for empowering women. For the guys in the audience, you're going to learn a lot about the tactics of outsourcing your daily life so that you can spend more time doing things that make you consistent passive income. So Genecia, thanks so much for joining us today on Accelerated Investor. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us. So I love to begin my interviews talking a little bit about what my guests are passionate for right now, and especially obviously considering this kind of strange virus environment that we're all in. So tell us, Genecia, what are some things that you're working on today? Like literally the rest of your day, tomorrow, this week, this month. What are some things you're excited about in your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, right now we are growing our podcasting for women here in Southeast Asia, where women are rising up, doing their podcast, and we're helping them to monetize, to use podcasts as an additional source of income. So during this season, when it's critical, when women must have multiple sources of income and not just dependent on one, so this is a great time for us to get started. And another thing I'm working on still is my other programs that we are working with Success Resources as well. We just finished a virtual, like a National Achievers Congress, together with Jay Abraham and T. Half Ecker. So we just finished that virtual summit as well. So really had a lot of fun, and really empowering people globally to look into how you can build up your do entrepreneurship. You can do up your personal branding, and so many pieces of you to pivot so that you can still thrive after the whole situation.
Yeah. So let's talk about your book a little bit. Your kind of giveaway for our audience, this whole idea of outsourcing 80% of your to-do list, because I don't think it doesn't matter if you're a brand new entrepreneur or you're a seasoned CEO. It's kind of a daily battle, right? To constantly be thinking, what's the highest and best use of my time? Where should I be spending my time as a CEO, as a leader? And there's a lot of other kind of junk or muck or stuff that's not as important, that is necessary. That things that need to get done. But there's always this kind of pull of, well, I just do it myself, or I can do it faster and better than anybody else, so I'll just do it, versus constantly having your leadership CEO hat on and doing only the things that are most important. So what are some tips, Genecia? You've built a huge personal brand. You've built multiple companies. You've built this huge network of women. You've obviously felt this struggle in your own life. So what are some things that you do on a regular basis to make sure that you are outsourcing 80% of the work and really just focused on the super, super important stuff that can really push you and your companies forward?
Well, first and foremost, I learned the power of outsourcing or delegation. I would use these two words interchangeably. When I ran my cafe retail chain, we were in 3 countries, Singapore, Malaysia, and in Indonesia, when we had 18 franchisees and licensees. And after 4 years, we exited to a public listed company owner. So in such a huge organization, we can't do everything ourselves, right? So even in the management position, I run PR and marketing. I have partners doing franchise. I've got another partner running operations. I've got another partner running different departments. And by having this art of delegating, to different partners, I think at this level, allow us to thrive and shine as a local brand from Singapore, growing outwards to different parts of Southeast Asia. So that's one thing that I've learned on this ground. And after putting this skill set to very good use, I put this to Soul Rich Women as well. So a lot of people that I most commonly hear them saying is, oh, Genecia, I don't have money to outsource or delegate. I would love to do everything myself. Other people can't do it as well as me. I'm the best person doing that thing. But you know what? I truly believe that if you want to grow, you want to scale, you need to outsource. You need to delegate. You must do it, because only then you can focus on your zone of genius. I would challenge you to outsource or delegate something that you really hate to do. Like, is it bookkeeping? Is it, operational work, very mundane kind of work where you can actually already structure kind of into a SOP and then control the whole team from there. I now run a team of 21 virtually everywhere in the world. So, when that happens, I only focus on marketing, sales and marketing, and that's the only thing I look at. And I set up systems and processes to control everybody on the team using project management tools like Asana and also Skype. And then I make sure that everybody does some reporting so that it's easy for me to just look at the data to, even though no matter where I'm at. So really, this really will transform your life if you know how to delegate 80% of your to-do list so that you can make money online and focus on your zone of genius. So you can grab that download over at our website at soulrichwoman.com, soulrichwoman.com, soulrichwoman.com.
Fantastic. So, Genecia, help me understand this zone of genius. I love that little phrase there. So many people, I think, are that's constantly evolving, right? I think part of being a successful entrepreneur is finding that zone of genius and doing just that 80% of the time. But a lot of people struggle to figure out, well, what is my zone of genius? Like, what am I really good at? There's so many things to do as an entrepreneur, from sales, marketing, operations, software, technology, customer service. And I think a lot of people often fight against their soul of genius or their zone of genius, just because they feel like, I don't really know what it is. How can I be confident if I just do that everything else will fall in place? And I would tell people, look, when I look at my zone of genius, I think about what gives me energy. Like what when I do it, I actually am, when I'm done with it, I'm like, I could do that more. I love that, whatever I just finished. And I could do that all day, even if nobody paid me for it. So what are your thoughts on kind of identifying your zone of genius when you work with your clients and your audience? what are some different strategies that you think like, okay, here's how you kind of identify that, and then kind of put that in a bucket and say, I want to do this 80% of the time, and then take everything else and put it in a separate bucket so that you can start to outsource those other things. So how do you identify that zone of genius?
Sometimes it's really a little bit hard, especially if you are, kind of confused and you are stuck in a zone where you're not even sure who you are.
Right.
So I think definitely the first step is to find a mentor and get a coach to really help you to kind of get yourself from stuck to unstoppable, because you can't see your blind spots. You can't see sometimes even what you're really good at. And for women, especially, sometimes we have a lot of the noise between our ears. Mm-hmm. So we have a tendency to maybe put ourselves down or play small, not being able to think big. So one of the things that I always encourage our women to do, our audience to do, is to really look in what is their talent and their passion. So we want to turn the passion into a paycheck and talent into their business. So it can be anything that when they wake up in the morning, what gets them really excited. So that's one thing that they can be looking at. Another area is what is the one thing that they do really well every single day. So I've got this lady who came to us. She's a 10-year stay-at-home mom, wanted to become an entrepreneur, wanted to sell some health products, but it belongs to a network marketing company. Mm-hmm. And after having a short discussion with her, I realized that she was really good at cooking. And she was cooking for a family of 7. And her strength was that she had this secret recipe of chili sauce that is, you can make it fresh without any preservatives, and she can deliver it to anywhere in Singapore. So because of this secret recipe that she has, she actually built up this business. We guide her how to build up this business. And in the end now, she's making, in 2 months, she made 4 figures every single month now. Even though she need to blend that chili, but it's a recurring order that she's getting. Now, we want women to get not just a passive income, but also able to get, you are able to sell a product that people want, people love, and therefore you have recurring business every single time. So that in itself, when you look at, being able to function in your zone of genius, well, you can look at your outcomes, which is how much are you making, number 1. Number 2, is there recurring businesses for yourself? Is there recurring income? Or are you just kind of stuck and not being able to move? You're just, like earlier on you mentioned, transactional, kind of like if you work, you get paid. You work, you get paid. You don't work, you don't get paid, right?
Right.
So I think that zone of genius needs to go and, be first and foremost when you wake up in the morning. I talk about that. When you wake up in the morning, are you excited about life, or are you just, I just want to go back and sleep, kind of
right.
mentality? So that really will determine. And we've got another lady who is an employee, 9-to-5 employee. She is in a HR regional APAC leader, and just quit her job just 8 months ago before COVID-19 happens. And at that point, she wanted to brand herself to be seen as a leader. She don't really have a skill set that is necessary, because right now, if she left the company, she was a nobody, right? Because there's no title, you're not a regional leader, director of HR anymore. How then can you continue to function in your zone of genius? So she picked up a new skill. Remember I talked about podcasting? She picked up a new skill, and then she decided to go into podcasting. And then in 3 months after she launched her podcast with our help here at Slow Rich Woman, she got headhunted more than 10 times from the US, from Europe, and outside of Asia as well, in leadership positions. And her pay cut, there was no pay cut. In fact, the pay was equivalent, if not much better. So when you are truly passionate about passion is one thing, but are you willing to open up to do a new skill that can really pay the bills, that can really move you to the next level? Are you ready to kind of like structure your leadership online and bring your business online and be seen as a leader online? And because of that, opportunities will come. I mean, it literally changed this lady's life, a 9-to-5 employee, thinking that at her age, nearing to 50, you will get a pay cut, you need to take less to go back into the workforce. And especially with your woman, sometimes it's a little bit disadvantaged, But hey, you know what? But because of being seen as a leader online, she was able to get, so much more headhunters, and she was able to bring in clients and get leads for doing the work that she's doing right now. So that's really awesome.
My newest and most powerful real estate investing book, The Flip System, is now available. And for a limited time, you can grab your free copy at getflipsystem.com/podcast. Using the same proven principles, secrets, and investing strategies I'm sharing in this book, I've been able to personally close over 750 highly profitable real estate deals over the last 15 years, make over 400 private lender loans, raise over $30 million of private money, and acquire over 2,000 units of apartments. Get my newest book now for free for a limited time at getflipsystem.com/podcast. That's getflipsystem.com/podcast. So a lot of it, what it sounds like, Genecia, is, when you find your passion and you find out what you really want to do and you're excited in the morning, you have 80% of your time in the day, you're focused on your kind of zone of genius. Now you're really authentic with who you are and what you believe and what you're doing, to the point where you're now comfortable kind of taking your personal brand online. So it all really is packaged up together. And now you have the kind of the backbone, if you will, the horsepower to say, you know what, I have a little bit of a message. I want to take this out to the audience, whether I get paid for it or not. A lot of the most successful people that I've met that take their brand online, as long as they're authentic and they have passion for it and they continue to do a deep dive in that particular niche, eventually it just sort of mushrooms out and starts to take off. So help us understand, you've obviously taken your personal brand online and done amazing with it. So how does somebody take their passion? You talked about creating a business from it, gave us some examples, but tell us a little bit more about what you do with your clients and with your community to now say, okay, now you have a business. That business is creating a paycheck for you. It's creating orders for you. It's creating a passive income for you. And then how can you really put more gas on the fire, if you will, by taking your personal brand online? And why should people take their personal brand online? How did you take your personal brand online?
Now, if you look left, you look right, somebody else is doing the same thing as you. If you look left, you look right, someone else is just posting something similar as you. You look left, you look right, someone else is just getting more leads and inquiries than you right now, especially when everyone is being forced to go online. The space is crowded, it's competitive. But how can you stand out from the crowd? At this moment in time, now the way is to focus on turning your mess into your message. It's not just another code, another video you're going to post, some simple 3 lines writing, posting your cat photos, your food photos. It's no longer
right.
just about that. Yeah. How are you going to show your message that you are the thought leader, you're the business owner, you are that influencer that speaks volumes on what you're truly passionate about or what you're talented about, And what I'm seeing is that people are just, not making effort, or maybe they don't know what to post. They're tired, they're not creative. They're just like, I researched some Google, and then they say, okay, I'm going to just do some posting. So they just post the things, right? And it gets very dry. Another thing that I'm seeing is that people are holding some brands that maybe a lot of people hold. For example, if you're in a studio business or a network marketing business or whatever business that you are in, if you are carrying a brand that does not belong to you and you are marketing that brand, if I were to search that brand, I would find hundreds, if not thousands of people holding the same particular brand. Then the next question will be, how are you going to stand out in the sea of sameness? So the strategy in order to get out of this black hole, I will call it, is to really use this thing, turn your mess into message. So step number 1 is what kind of story are you telling? Who have you been before? What kind of victories have you got? What kind of failures or problems that you have overcome that allows you to be seen as a thought leader, influencer, or business owner that is truly different from your own standpoint? And are you saying it enough? A lot of times I hear people say, no, Genecia, I said one time already. Today I talked about it today, Tomorrow and next week, I'm not going to talk about it. Next month, I'm not going to talk about it because I already talked about it already. You know what? People are forgetful. They will never
Right.
remember about it. Okay, so my solution to you is talk about the 10 different things of the same thing, of the one thing. Find 10 ways, 20 ways, 30 ways to craft your social media, your personal brand, your online message, to talk about that one thing, because but only then you will be consistent by talking about the same message about being a thought leader of that particular subject matter, a business owner or even influencer in that space, being that zone of genius. When you hit hard enough, it's bullseye. It goes through it. And then that's when you hit the spot, that's when your pot of gold is going to come. So it's really very important to look into how you're developing that momentum online by first, don't keep skipping over topics and try to be everything to everybody, because sell to everybody, sell to nobody. Speak to one, speak to many.
Got it. Love it. So this is really, guys, she's, you can hear Genecia, she's doing this kind of deep dive. You can hear her voice is speeding up. You can tell she's super passionate for this. And really what that little segment was about was just being authentic online and really dialing into the one or two things. It's okay to not have a lot to say about a lot of things. It's okay to just have one or two things that you're really, really good at, like Genecia just said, and talk about it 10 ways, 20 ways, 30 ways to talk about the same thing. There's been many times in my journey where I was like, geez, all I talk about is this one thing over and over and over. But people want to hear all these different things that I've said or things that I've done about investing in real estate, investing in foreclosures, investing in apartments, raising money. And the more narrow you go and talk about that over and over and over, the more you capture that audience. And then the more you can do with that audience, whether it's raise money, whether it's sell products, whether it's have a podcast, all these things together. That's amazing. So that's really that one segment that she just talked about is an amazing lesson on how to be authentic online and create content online. I love it. Genecia, let's back up for a quick minute and give us a little bit about your first step into entrepreneurship. I know you started at a very young age, 14 years old, and you've been an entrepreneur all your life. But many people wonder who are not currently an entrepreneur, how do I just make the first step? Obviously with this COVID-19 business, people are relying on, government checks, stimulus money, and they don't really want to do that anymore. Nobody wants to come out of this scare and go back to the way they were. Everybody should be thinking, how do I use this scare to use this as a platform to jump off into doing my own thing, creating my own economy, working from home, replacing my income. So you did that at a very young age, out of necessity. Tell us a little bit about that story. What were some things that were some challenges for you to jump into entrepreneurship at a very young age? And what are some, looking back now, what are some things you would tell your younger self about that leap?
Wow. For me, when I was 14, I had to work and support myself through school. I was an instructor. I was a yoga, aerobics, and line dancing instructor. And then my exams came. When I was about 18, that was my first taste of entrepreneurship, where I decided that, I do not want to just do an hour and earn that hour. I want to find some creative ways to make more within an hour. So at 18 years old, I said, hey, I think I need to find more instructors, and I kind of outsource them to like companies and events. And that was exactly what I did. So I took a commission of their pay. So for example, if they get paid $80 an hour, I would take about maybe $30 and then they can get the rest of the money. So kind of that within a single hour, if I were to, I had a group of 20 instructors, and then I make like 20 times 30, right? Within an hour of the time. And I was trying to find ways to earn more to pay for my book fees and stuff like that, and tuition fees. So it really worked out. And this was like kind of a huge memory inside my body and inside my mind, because I said, okay, then this is something I really want to do for my business and my own life future. But of course, along the way, like anybody else, we get stuck in the rat race, right? Education system has taught us, you got to go to a 9-to-5 job. Right. I graduated as an occupational therapist. In case some of you may not know, something similar to a physiotherapist. So I graduated as that. And my passion was with children. So I was working in the helping children with learning difficulties, with dyslexia, ADHD. And I worked in it for a year. Seriously, I mean, I went in it because, you know what, I graduated in it, therefore I must use it. So I went into it, and less than a year, I'm like, no, I want to get out of it.
It's not what I wanted.
This is not what I wanted. You know, I'm passionate about helping children, but not working like 12 hours and still be paid less than what I'm making part-time.
Yeah.
Supplying instructors to companies. So that means before I even work in a full-time job, I was already making more than my own income as a therapist in the healthcare industry. So when I went into it, that was when I realized, no, I got to be an entrepreneur and I got to get out of this rat race. And that was when that memory came back once again. I said, okay, let's activate it. So in 2006, I went back into entrepreneurship and started my own image consultancy business. And that's how I built and I grow from being, still get work and get paid to, leveraging online, bring my brand online. And I have multiple businesses. Like what you said, I have this online platform that help female entrepreneurs to get seen and get heard online. So we have one business model is actually a subscription business model. And we have 200,000 members. And so when you have, you know your market, you know your target audience really well, and just $12, a month. And imagine the amount that we make recurring every single month. So it's all about giving that value in that online space. Because for us, our women don't need more information. They want structured content, step by step. And we deep dive in every single topic so that they can just come to us and just know that in the next being part of us, actually get all these know-hows and step by step to get their entrepreneurship up or get their brand seen or to do whatever that they want to do online. So this is super important, knowing who your target market is and how you give value like crazy so that people keep coming back. So that's something that I've established. And also more for my other businesses like e-commerce businesses, I have another arm as well. But that took quite some time to build, because to do e-commerce online, you need to know what are some of the products that really sell and what are the things that really catches consumers' attention. Consumers never go for the cheaper solution. That's something I want to share with a lot of people whose misconception is selling the lowest in the online e-commerce world is going to get you the most amount of money. And that's not true. You need to build a brand for your e-commerce store. You need to build a brand that people trust, because trust is very, I would say, little or missing right now in the online space. And if connection is something that you value, then you have to work towards the direction. So entrepreneurship for me is all about, number one, give value like crazy. And number two, be consistent so that you build that connection. Number three, you must build that momentum so that people will know where to find you when it's time for them to buy.
Yes. Are you ready to automate and explode your real estate investing? We're searching for extremely motivated individuals who are sick and tired of wasting time and want to finally see real results from their real estate investing business. We're searching for investors looking to get to the next level and become a bigger, better version of themselves while being a more successful real estate investing entrepreneur. Apply for mentoring and coaching at joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast. That's joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast. Genecia, I love it. So let me ask you this now. After all this journey that you've been on, one of the lessons I think you probably would tell your younger self was to focus on passive incomes, focus on recurring revenue. That if you look at Wall Street, to use a U.S. analogy, Wall Street values businesses the highest that have recurring subscription revenue. It doesn't matter if you're in the telecom space and you lay fiber optic cable. They look at long-term contracts and they value those contracts, and it makes the company worth the most. So you've learned over time to create regular recurring income streams. In my real estate businesses, I've learned to create regular recurring income streams by owning apartments, owning rental properties, and having private lender loans where people pay us every single month and we get paid over and over and over. That is, I guess, the more mature way of running a business, is to not be so transactional up front, but to think long term. How do I build subscription? How do I build a community? How do I build passive income? That's probably one of the lessons you would tell your younger self. What are maybe one or two other lessons or feedback you'd give your younger self and say, hey, this is some things maybe we got right as we got a little older. Here's some things I wish you had done sooner as an entrepreneur or when you were younger. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say two things. First and foremost, never do business partnerships without contracts, and never do business partnerships with friends. That is something that caused me to get into a six-figure debt back in 2012. Yeah. So, being the biggest shareholder, I mean, I wanted to be a sleeping partner. The other two-person wanted to start a dating agency. So I'm like, okay, don't worry. I'll support you girls, since we're friends. And then I put up the money, and then each of them, because their stakehold inside the company is so little, and that really kind of like, they didn't give them a sense of responsibility, I would say, put it that way. So 1 year, they kind of draw out the salary throughout the year. And then the bank went from hero to zero, literally. And by the time we close it up, because it's a private limited, so private limited, you need to do accounting, you need to do auditing, and all these money still need to come up from my own pocket, even though I was the so-called sleeping partner.
Wow.
So anyway, great lesson learned that winded me up in six figures in debts, because it was something way beyond what I didn't expect it to happen. So I would tell my younger self, don't do business with friends. And if anything, do business with really black and white and good contract, legal contract. And that was what I did later on in my cafe retail chain business, where all the 4 or 5 partners of us, we wrote down how much equity we own, what's our roles and responsibilities, who's going to be in charge overall, kind of like have a system and process in place. And if you were to dilute the shares, how much else we need to top up and things like that. So what I learned really contrasting the two situations is really, I will give an advice to all friends and audiences listening to this. Really, don't just jump into any partnerships easily, because you need to know how they feel and kind of like talk about money. Like when you have a money, when there's a transaction, when there's like hundreds and thousands of dollars coming, how would you split the money or use the money, right? So kind of money talking is important. So for a start, maybe build a business together up to $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. Like set a marker, and then start a company later.
There you go.
Don't start it right up front, because you never know what may go wrong, because we have met some cases as well. Some women, they come to me for coaching for partnerships. Most of them don't work out, because we women make decisions based on impulse and emotions at many points in times. And that brings me to the next point. You need to find a mentor. I would tell myself, find and get a mentor earlier. Don't do it like that, like later part of my life. If I had done it so much earlier, to really invest in myself much earlier, I probably would have made my million much earlier.
Yes.
I made my first million when I was in 2013, my first million, and then later multi-million dollars. But before that, if I had already been smart enough, I would have done it much, much earlier. So anyway, that's the key point.
Fantastic. Genecia, so this last question is just about your book. We've already talked about it a little bit and plugged it, but you mentioned that you love to help people understand, women and entrepreneurs, on how to outsource 80% of the work and delegate that kind of thing. So just tell us a little bit more about what's in the book. Again, why don't you tell us where they can find the book, that download, and how to truly tactically do that. Identify what is your passion. We talked about that, but now it's about getting rid of the rest, getting rid of the muck, the stuff that you're not an expert in. So how do you identify some of the people to take that on? You said you have a virtual team, 21 people all over the world. And so you've obviously outsourced the things that you're not an expert at or not passionate for. And you've done it to a really high level, because you've done it and delegated those things or partnered with other people in other parts of the world. So many people think I've got to have an executive assistant that sits in my office, sits right next to me. You've done the total opposite approach. You've taken a very global approach to outsourcing the other 80%. Tell us a little bit more about that, and tell us again about where to find the book as we wrap up.
Sometimes a lot of people, when they say entrepreneurship, I got to get an office, I got an assistant, I've got to get like some people in the office, it's like kind of like a physical space and everything else. But I believe that as time has changed, this will kind of weed out eventually. But I would say that it doesn't mean that I kind of like outsource what I don't like the most. I mean, that's true, but whatever that I've delegated out to my team of 21, I've done the work myself. So being a solopreneur before, I've done the work, and I'm kind of quite a SOP kind of person. Like, you got to put it down in the processes so that people can follow. So this book, this delegate 80% of your to-do list, just kind of show you how you even delegate out, because a lot of times we are just lumping every to-do list, every task together, marketing. And you're like, marketing is everything. No. Marketing is different thing. First, you need to look at social media, right? You need to look at, what are you doing for your Facebook ads? Are you looking at something else? So you need to break that down. So in it, I'm going to show you how you're going to break it down, and how are you going to select those that you can afford to outsource or delegate. Like, I always have a rule of thumb, $50 is all you need, either every single month or every single week. If you go out for movies, you go do manicure, pedicure, you do your massage, you do your spa, you go for golf, you have your $50 somewhere in your pocket. Okay.
Yes.
Start from that $50 and then build out. I didn't start from a group of 21 virtual team. I started with just one, right? And they have been with me for a long time right now. And the way to build up is to first invest in your first $50 out to someone else. And most importantly here, I would say, don't be so stuck in your own square. Because you know that if you keep saying that, no, Genecia, I don't need, I'm a new entrepreneur, I can't get out there. Okay, you know what? You got to quit that and start moving. Are you already having the results that you want? Are you having more time and more freedom in your life? Are you building more recurring incomes? Now, if not, then you got to get this, okay? So go get it at soulrichwoman.com. This book is 80%, how to delegate 80% of your to-do list. I've also got another book, 7 Secrets of Personal Branding. So these are the 2 free gifts actually I have for you today. So go to soulrichwoman.com, SOULRICHWOMAN. And do connect with me as well. I mean, if you enjoyed today's episode, connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram at Genecia Alluora. GENECIA ALLUORA.
Fantastic. Genecia, listen, this has been just a delight for me to jump on with you and learn about your business and your passion for women and entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for joining us on Accelerated Investor.
Thank you, Josh. Have a good day.
You too.
You've been listening to Josh Cantwell and the Accelerated Investor Podcast. Leave a comment on our iTunes channel and let us know what you want to learn next or who you'd like Josh to interview. While you're there, give us a 5-star rating and make sure to subscribe so you can be the first to hear new episodes. Follow Josh Cantwell and his companies, Strategic Real Estate Coach and Freeland Ventures, on all social media platforms now, and stay up to date on new training and investment opportunities. To start your journey toward the lifestyle you've always dreamed of, apply for coaching at joshcantwellcoaching.com.